In life, there's no room for illusions when it comes to commitment, especially when it involves marrying a single mother. If you still think it's beautiful, heroic, romantic, or that you're going to save a wounded woman by accepting her children as if they were your own, I'm here to shed a harsh light on that. Marrying a single mother is signing your own emotional, psychological, legal, and financial death sentence. It means becoming an invisible punching bag in a war that's not yours, but where you will catch all the blows. If you really want to understand this trap and learn how to protect yourself, stay with me, subscribe, and hit the bell so you don't miss the upcoming videos that will reveal every truth no one dares to tell. My friend, first forget the sugary talk from those who tell you it's courageous, noble, or altruistic to commit this way. Those empty words only mask the planned exploitation of your goodwill, weakness, or naivety. They sell you a fairy tale, but in reality, you're being invited to a funeral, the funeral of your freedom. Picture this: you walk into a house where the decoration isn't yours, and decisions from the past dictate every move. You didn't found this family. You agreed to be the patch for someone else's heartbreak and broken relationships. The child is king, the ex is semi-present, and you're nothing more than an underpaid and unrecognized extra. It hurts to hear, but it's the heavy truth that burdens thousands of men who thought they could build their lives on a foundation that wasn't theirs. Take Julian, a 34-year-old engineer. He fell in love with a woman who had an 8-year-old son. At first, she promised that their love would be a true family. But 6 months later, Julian had to schedule his life around the dates set by the ex, pay for vacations and gifts, and constantly back down in front of the opinions of the child and the biological father, who was always preferred. They sold him love, but he bought stress, frustration, and velvet contempt. He ended up bitterly saying, "I thought I was building a family, but I was just filling an empty space." And the suffering starts from day one. After all, as Marcus Aurelius said, "He who closes his eyes to reality signs his own suffering contract." If you want to be the bandage, the fixer, the savior of a broken life, prepare to suffer, because reality isn't bought on credit. The past isn't a myth. It's a ghost that follows you everywhere, and it's very real. The biological father, whether distant or omnipresent, toxic or idealized, is your permanent competitor. You can't chase him away. He always comes back. In custody disputes, constant calls, last-minute meetings. Maureen, 33, once told a friend how her partner David, wanting to be a father, gave up facing the omnipresence of her ex. Even though he lived 300 miles away, the father called every day, created conflict, imposed symbolic dominance until David became just a roommate in his own home. This is not unique, it's the norm. Imagine Father's Day at school. The child draws a picture for the one who is absent, who never built anything, but who will always be the real dad. The man sharing the daily life is pushed aside, accused whenever he tries to set rules or boundaries. The result is frustration, simmering anger, silent humiliation. Seneca said, "You cannot possess a heart that partly belongs to another, wanting to claim a place in a heart already shared. Good luck." But it doesn't stop there, because you're about to carry a massive burden. The weight of raising a child that's not yours without social support or legitimacy. Samuel, 40, spent years helping his partner's son with homework, paying for his camp, attending parent-teacher meetings. One day, when he tried to correct a teacher, the principal snapped at him, "Only the father is allowed to sign." Behind him, the mother's cold, icy glare. "He's not your child." Samuel felt like an actor paid to applaud a show he didn't belong to. Epictetus said, "It is foolish to carry a burden you did not choose." And let's talk about the law. You think you will be protected, defended. Think again legally, you're a disposable pawn. Olivier lived 8 years with a woman and raised her daughter as his own. When she met someone else, he was kicked out without mercy. Worse, the court made him continue paying child support with no visitation rights. A walking ATM, that's what his investment became. A family law attorney told me the stepfather is the ultimate sucker of the system. He gives everything but has no rights, no recourse. He disappears into the shadows of legal papers with no official existence. Your money, your life, your sanity. You'll burn them for someone else. Thomas, divorced, took out a huge loan to expand the house to accommodate the blended family with 2 kids. For 6 years, he paid for schooling, activities, celebrated birthdays, made sacrifices. Then came the divorce. Result, he never saw the kids again. His only souvenir, a bill. No thank you, no goodbye. The biological father, meanwhile, is the hero, absent and untouchable. The ingratitude is total. If you still believe in eternal promises, you're wrong. If she's a single mother, it's because her previous relationship failed. That breakup is a signal. The story doesn't stop, it repeats. Often, Patrick shared on a forum how his partner swore he was the man of her life, only to leave him 4 years later for another. The kid, he never called him Dad. Nothing guarantees peace in this latent chaos. The statistics are brutal. Blended families have about twice the risk of breaking up compared to original families. These homes are battlefields of jealousy, rivalry, conflicts over authority, and fractured loyalties. Ask yourself why fidelity would be a miracle in such a broken system. The child grows up with resentment. He will reject you, remind you that you're not his father, that you have no blood, no legitimacy. Guy, 52 after 12 years of devotion, was brutally erased from the family story after a breakup. At Christmas, his calls were ignored because the real father was back. His reaction? I gave my life for them. They erased me in 3 weeks. Cruel but realistic. Society itself sets the trap. You're told to be magnanimous, recognized, heroic. In reality, you'll be seen as a freeloader if you refuse sacrifice, and a macho if you claim your free will. Paradoxical? Yes, but that's the norm. Nobody will pay for your sacrifices, your pain, your debts. Real respect begins when you know how to say no, when you refuse to drown in the emotional debts of a past that's not yours. No matter how much you hate to hear it, you'll be sold the same lie 1,000 times. Love conquers all. They will accept you. Not true. It's submission. Martin, a high school teacher, gave everything to his blended family. Once he left, the mother remarried and the kids erased him from their story. That's the truth that fairy tales will never teach you. Stoicism is clear. Lucidity beats emotion. It's not cowardice to refuse a doomed commitment, but courage to live strategically. He who fights without strategy always dies on another's battlefield. You can be vilified, he called selfish, but better that than to be crushed like a pawn in someone else's story. Now we're coming to the end of this video. If you're still here, that means you're ready to hear the unfiltered truth. Now listen carefully to this conclusion if you want to be happy. A king doesn't start his reign by raising the son of a fallen general. Want to build your empire? Choose a woman who wants to build with you, on virgin ground, with a shared project that only you can carry. Never let guilt or misplaced compassion break you into living a half-given, totally diluted life. Defend your energy, protect your bloodline, proudly carve your legacy. Honor the single mother for her strength, dignity, and struggle, but keep your freedom to choose your battles intact. Because true courage lies not in submission, but in the lucid refusal of commitments that destroy you, saying no to love that dissolves you, responsibility without rights, recognition absent. That's truly affirming your dignity as a man. Let your greatness begin where you refuse to be a footnote in someone else's tragedy. Be the author of your story, not an extra swallowed by a past that's not yours. Build, conquer, and pass on with clear vision, because freedom is not given, it's defended. And remember, the greatest act of courage is often knowing when to say no, even when everyone pressures you to say yes. Your destiny belongs to you fully. Don't dilute it in someone else's story.